Okay, here we are in our new little studio. I'm loving this so much. Thank you for joining me, honey, for the inaugural show. She's waving over there. No vino today, but later. We're going to make, as I said, out in the garden, onion potato soup. Here are the onions we have here. Well, let's go over the ingredients like we always do. The ingredients for this beautiful soup. I've got a couple of stalks of celery. I've got my onions that we picked from the garden, and I've been soaking those in water just to remove any grit from them. Butter. Now, the original recipe called for margarine. Back in I think I wrote this book in the 90s. There was some research going around that margarine was supposed to be better. Now we know that, it's your heart will always guide you correctly. Grandmama used butter. Her mama used butter. My mama used butter. So butter is butter, right? Anyway, so we're using butter here instead. I've got some cream. I'm using organic cream. Salt and pepper, of course. And moving to my right, I've got a little bit of olive oil that we will use to make sure that butter can raise the smoking point of the butter, okay? Then we've got potatoes, and I want to share with you the potatoes. We've got potatoes from my garden. Look at those, aren't they gorgeous? Also a couple of store-bought potatoes as well. Remember though, the theme that I'm trying to share is cooking for one or two. Get a lot of questions, have received a lot over the years, and more now. People saying that, I don't want to cook because it's just me or my spouse, or I'm my favorite person to cook for. I love cooking for me and for Lisa. So we're going to try to show you over the coming episodes how to, pare down. So I'll show you the original recipe, then I'll show you how to cut it down. A rule of thumb, like for potato soup, leek and onion or leek and potato, whatever the soup is, 1 potato per person. Okay, and that's still quite a bit. You'll see when we make this up. And I've got an onion here, and I'm just going to use one of the Spanish onions so that to add another layer of flavor to our soup. Okay, so we're going to prep up our onions, bring up the cooktop, and then we'll get to making our soup. Peace, spread love. Emoji C here, reminding you the base recipe was potato and leek soup. We're making onion leek soup today. Margarine is switched to butter. We're using those green onions from the backyard, celery, a Spanish onion, only 2 potatoes, water, and 1 cup of cream. Peace, spread love. Early in the week, Lisa and I visited the Obama portraits at the DeYoung Museum. We picked up this little light. It's solar powered, great for campers, or I thought of it really. It's like this is just a cool little thing for people, even for people who are experiencing houselessness or homelessness. I don't know what's the correct term. I just wish we could help people be housed and have homes. Light at night. Look at that, solar powered. It's really bright, although it's daytime. You can't see how bright this is in here. I hope you can. Anyway, I just love these. So I'm going to buy a bunch of these, and folks want them that I meet in my travels who are way less fortunate than me. I'm going to share them. All right, peace. It's always about spreading love. Let's get back to work. All right, got all the ingredients laid out, and we're going to start with our celery. I've got 2 stalks of celery, and I've got a mulch container over here to my left, your right. So we're not going to be throwing things on the floor, of course, and we're just going to chop these up, okay? And I've got another container. I'm going to put those in after we get them chopped. And I like my leek potato, onion potato soup a little bit more chunky than most people do. However, that part of the celery needs to be cut. There we go. One of the things I love about these bendy cutting boards, look at that. Right in there. Now, that's the celery. And I wanted to show you why I had these onions in that water. See, it helps to really clean them out. Now, we're going to use some of the green tops as well. These were grown in the yard, of course, so sometimes when watering, it kind of splashes the dirt up and it gets inside those little leaves. So be careful, even like here. You see, there may be a little sand in there. And especially with leeks, there's a lot of sand in leeks. So you see that right there? So what I do is I soak them in water to remove some of that. And anyway, we'll just wash that out. You want to make sure we get all of that. The last thing you want is to bite in your potato soup, potato onion soup, and get a big bite of grit, right? I shouldn't say that, should I? Again, all this will go into the mulch pile. And I want, again, same kind of thing. Those onions up. We're going to add the little butter to our container when we get ready to cook. And we'll saute these, but you'll see when we get there. I don't want to get ahead of myself. We're going to go ahead and speed this up so we can get to the real deal. The cooking, making our onion potato soup. Chopping up those beautiful green onions. Then we'll switch to our Spanish onion before moving on to the potatoes. Let's do this! The real deal, like Evander, the heavyweight champion, Holyfield. Let's make... Breaking the new studio, here we are. I'm loving it. You know, got to work through the kinks. As always, the first time is interesting. Got to rearrange some things outside the window. Once the window treatment goes on, it'll be a lot better. I can kind of control the lighting. It's interesting in a white room. I did my first Zoom call early this morning from out here, and it was kind of nice to have my background, my green screen, and making it work well. Anyway, enough chit chat. We're going to have fun in this new studio as the show goes along. I've got my burner here. Let's go ahead and get it started. Click in place. And we're going to turn it. There we go. Going to add about a tablespoon or two of butter. Oops, I didn't bring a butter knife out. Okay, there we go. That's going to be interesting now, working without having all my tools right at my hand. So about 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm using my cleaver. Martin, you like that, Martin Yan. Okay, and a little olive oil to help to raise that smoking point, okay? Now, and I do love cooking with gas. I'm going to lower this just a little bit more. I'll let it get nice and hot. Just let it coat the whole bottom there. How do you like the 3 shots we've got today? 1, 2, my face, my close-up. 3, kind of a close-up on the food there. The potatoes are all chopped up. I got my onion, celery mixed in, and I did use half of that Spanish onions just to give it that different little texture and flavor, okay? They're going to cook down. This should be hot enough till we can get our sizzle going. So let's see, we'll add some of our onions and celery. Yeah, there we go. Can you hear that at home? And we're going to cook these about 2 or 3 minutes just so they become translucent. In other words, so you can kind of see through them, okay? The onions, that is, the celery will not become translucent. Now, just take your time here. And I'm going to add a little more butter. I put the cream back in the fridge to keep it chilled until we're ready for it. And I'm going to add a little more butter and oil. I kind of like this cleaver here. That's kind of nice to move the butter around. Onion and potato soup as opposed to leek and potato soup. We're just going to let these cook for a bit. I'm going to add a little salt. This salt is not for flavor. This salt is to help the sweat, help to bring the moisture out of my onions. So there we go. I'm going to place the lid on. Let these cook about 2 or 3 minutes. We'll be back. Well, it's been about 3 minutes. Let's take a look. Now, I want you to notice how much of the moisture that brings out. Look at that. All of that, we added no water to this. Now, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And those onions have softened up just beautifully. And remember, that butter helps to caramelize. So now we're going to add a little more butter. And then I'm going to add, yeah, this is a rich soup, okay? It's going to be quite decadent, right? Let's add a little more butter, as well as some more olive oil. I'm going to use about half a stick of butter, and I really don't need to because it tastes great. It's just that I like that butter. Been working in the garden, working hard so I can burn up more calories that way. Calories as in calories. Here are potatoes. We've chopped those up. Going to add those. And we're going to add water. I think I forgot to mention that when we were talking about the ingredients. H2O. I'm just going to bring enough to not quite cover the potatoes, okay? There we go. You can see the butter in there. Let's move these around. Yeah, that's enough water. Not quite covering them, okay? Because more moisture is going to be released. Let's go ahead and add some salt and pepper. And I'm adding nothing but the seasoning is salt and pepper here. No garlic, no, my seasoned blend. This is just going to be salt and pepper. And remember, it's always better to err on the less or lighter side of salt and pepper than heavy, because once it goes in, you cannot, no, you cannot take it out. All righty. Lisa loves pepper. Okay, so we're going to bring this to a boil. We're going to then lower it and allow it to simmer for maybe 25, 30 minutes. That's all it takes. You just want those potatoes to get nice and soft. We're going to chop up some of those green onion tops and add to it maybe the last 5 to 10 minutes of cooking. You could also add some chives. I've got chives growing in the yard, so I may go out in the garden, I should go out and maybe grab some chives. I'll take and show you some of those, okay? Lid goes on. It's 3:08. We'll check it around 3:25, 3:30. Peace, spread love. So last week, Lisa and I both had work down in the South Bay, and we've always wanted to stop at the Roundhouse Cafe right there at the Golden Gate Bridge. So we did. Beautiful location. If you watch the show, you know how much I love the Golden Gate Bridge. The views here are just spectacular. Ooh, they've got some of those old classic shots of the bridge when it's being prepared, and then the coffee. Lisa loves lavender and vanilla. Guess what this is? Yeah, it's a coffee drink featuring vanilla and lavender. Oh, more about this in 1, 2, 3. Check it. Banana toast at the Golden Gate Bridge. The view from Roundhouse Cafe. Hello, love.
Equator coffee.
Hello, love. What, baby? 360. Okay. We are visiting the Winchester House today. I've lived in California 40-some years, heard a lot about this place, never been here. Go, baby, do your read.
Well, it's a San Jose historic landmark, and the Winchester House, built by Sarah Winchester, widow of rifle manufacturer William Winchester. This unique structure includes many outstanding elements of Victorian architecture and fine craftsmanship. Construction began in 1884 and continued without interruption until Mrs. Winchester's death in 1922. The continual building and remodeling created a 160-room house covering an area of 6 acres. Wow.
How many acres?
6.
Word. Inside the museum, there's a scale model of the full complex. And we did have a chance to see all areas. Some are roped off so you can't get inside. However, it was truly worth the $20 to get in. Like I said earlier, I have always wanted to visit the Winchester Mystery House, and it is still a mystery to me. Check it out if you get a chance to get down to San Jose. We are in the Product Museum. I guess those are morning clothes. I'm not sure. What do we got here? Winchester's rifles and fishing poles. Winchester fishing lures. Okay, dude did more than make guns, huh? As good as the gun. this guy revolutionized. Winchester made golf gloves?
Roller skates like that.
Oh yeah, you have them
I
still?
did, no.
Yeah, I had them too. Look at that holster. Winchester made more than just guns.
Made knives too.
Made golf clubs,
Axes,
baseball bats,
fishing equipment.
baseball gloves.
Yeah.
That's one Babe Ruth must have used. Those gun belt holsters are pretty cool. He made skates. Wow. Winchester rolling skates. Roller skates. Ice skates. Winchester knives. Wow, I didn't know all this. Winchester Cathedral. Scissors. New products. 1866 to 1920. Oh wow, look at this Winchester cutlery sets too, honey. Well, that's so much more for chefs. I didn't know they did this. Oh, not a good picture there. Oh, they got a product they're hiding from the world here. We got a Winchester waffle line. Hey, honey, look, they got the ice skates with the, like the rollerblades.
This is the reduced demand for military arms following World War I directed the Winchester production towards the growing market of hardware and sporting goods.
Flashlights. Wow. You know, the house is located right there on Winchester Avenue in downtown San Jose. The gardens are just spectacular. Those of you who have watched this show since the beginning, or even back in my Food Network days, know how much I love gardens and beautiful walkways like this, and the fountains. Also seeing young people, children out playing in these beautiful gardens, it was great. Lisa and I stopped and just sat in the chairs and just looked at the front of the Winchester House. Beautiful place, just strangely beautiful. It's kind of cool. As we take the walk towards the front door, and no, we do not get to enter here. We have to loop it back around to the right. On the left there, you can see a glimpse of the construction that's being done. There's a lot of noise right now with all that construction going on. However, it's still worth a visit. Inside, we're not allowed to take video, so there are a few photographs I'll share with you. Then we'll get back home and taste our onion and potato soup.
How you doing, baby? Ida Winchester, Ishihara, daughter-in-law and granddaughter of head gardener Tommy Ishihara.
Make a wish. Help a dream come true. I love being a tourist at home, honey.
Me too. I'm so glad we did this.
Yeah, yesterday when we went to that Roundhouse Coffee, that was cool, huh?
That was.
I did mention that no videos allowed inside the house. You'll see a lot of these little signs, fun facts. There are nearly 10,000 window panes in this structure. Here's a couple of them. looking out into those beautiful gardens. Then this next picture is of Sarah and her husband, Mr. Winchester. And the last picture, well, this room coming up is where Sarah practiced her piano. And the chandelier has 13 lamps. Ooh, spooky, right? The last picture, just something us chefs dig, nice little butcher block, something to work with. Peace. Let's go home and taste the soup. Welcome back to my kitchen, my studio, my place of fun. Well, it's been cooking about 25 minutes. Let's take a peek here, okay? Oh, that's looking good. Now remember, all that liquid stays in the pan, and I'm gonna stir it up, and we'll give it our first taste right here. Oh, that looks so good. And if you want to make a creamy, just go ahead and take your emulsion blender or potato masher and just mash them up. I really like those chunks of potato in my soup, so I'm not going to mash this one up. However, this first taste, and remember we got 2 spoons, the one that goes in your mouth and the one that goes in the container, okay? Because, and I talk about this a lot, once this touches your tongue or your mouth, those juices that digest the food start to work. You do not want to transfer that back into your pot, where you're cooking. So notice how we do that? We're taking, scoop it there. That looks good. Oh, wow. No salt or pepper needed, and no additional salt or pepper, I think, is needed. I'm going to put this spoon off to my left, your right, and we're going to talk about those green onions. We're just about ready to wrap it up. I'm going to add the green onions. I'll come back and add the cream, and we'll let it just warm the cream up, stir it up to make it rich and thick. Now remember, onions, garlic, they are members of the lily family. Thusly, I've put them into a miniature vase. It's really a milk bottle from, I think I got this at Post Ranch Inn down in Carmel, Big Sur. Okay, so with my chives, again, they are part of that same family. And I left my kitchen shears out in the garden, so I'm going to go out and get those. We'll get the cream up as well, and we'll come back and we'll finish up our soup. We're going to clip our chives and the onion tops right into our soup, and give it about 5 minutes to cook, and then we will be ready to taste. Peace, spread love. Okay, we are back playing with my clapper here. Not playing with it, I'm just setting up my shots, and I'm really enjoying working with the different tools that I gather. I go rushing out looking for my kitchen scissors. They were to my right. Why didn't you tell me? Because you can't talk to the TV. Well, you can speak to the TV, just may not answer you right away. Okay, got our cream out, got our chives and onion, the green tops. We're going to just take those kitchen scissors and clip as much or as little as we want. Sometimes when I don't feel like chopping, we just use the kitchen scissors. You can make them small like so, or big chunks, I think this really works well when it comes to small things like chives and some particular herbs. This adds I think I'm going to raise this temp just a little bit so you can see it bubbling. There we go. Whoops, not quite that much. Okay, now, so we have 1, 2, 3 different types of onions. The chives, the Spanish onion, as well as those nice, as we call them in the South, spring green onions, or you may call them large scallions. Look how nice that is. You just kind of clip them up. This also works great with other herbs like tarragon and even rosemary when it's nice and tender. Or when you're making baked potatoes and you want chives to go in your baked potatoes, this is a great way to get that nice look. Okay. Don't clip your fingers, Curtis George. Now I'm going to stop just before I get to the top. You see, there's a little dryness there, so we don't want to do that. Oop, I had one nice, that's a big leak there. Did I say leak? I mean, that's a rather large chive. Chives and cream cheese, chive and on your baked potatoes. Chives go great with so many things. Now, we're just going to do the same thing with the green onion tops. And of course, you could chop them. However, you don't have to worry about them rolling off the cutting board if you do it like this. And again, you could mash your soup to make it a little creamier. Now, what I'm going to do is just stir it up a little, darling. And we're going to add maybe 1/4 cup of cream. Okay. We'll place the lid back on, and I'm going to stir this in so that it won't curdle. We just kind of start stirring it, give us a little moisture. About a 1/4 cup of cream. There we go. That is gorgeous. All right, we're almost ready to taste. I'm going to give this about 5 more minutes to cook. Baby, baby. Lid on. Doesn't that look good? What do you think at home, huh? Tell a brother what you think. Tell a chef what you think. Kiss the cook on this day, Monday, June 19th, Juneteenth. Spread love, y'all. Well, it's my favorite time of the day. It's the pudding. Putting it in your mouth to see how it tastes. What do you think, baby? How is it?
Wow, so good.
Yeah? Yay! That's our onion potato soup as opposed to leek potato soup. A Fernetti, I hope I'm saying this correctly. Fernetti Chardonnay from Napa Valley over in Oakville. Our neighbors Vic and Carol shared this wine with us. It's absolutely fabulous. Oh my goodness. I just love that flavor. A little on the expensive side, around $50 at Costco. So however, it's worth it, okay? Now, the reason I'm getting so many people saying, Curtis, what's the wine? So I'm going to try to add that. I'll forget sometimes, so forgive me. Now, we're going to go ahead and serve up our onion and potato soup. I've got a little bit of garlic toast there. And I've turned it off so it can kind of cool down a little bit because it's ready. Isn't that gorgeous? Remember, you can make it creamy just by mashing up some of those potatoes. However, now look at that. I didn't do anything to it. I just let those potatoes cook down, and that natural starch in the potatoes helps it to become creamy. Isn't that beautiful? And we use like a 1/4 cup of cream. So as far as calorie goes, it's not that bad. Isn't that pretty? How does that look, baby? You like that? Look good? All right. Now, I brag about my ceramic pots all the time, honey. Another thing I love about them is see how that ladle fits in there because the little side there, it just kind of goes right in there. Okay, y'all. Onion potato soup. We've got 3 types of onions. The green onions from my garden, the Spanish onions that we picked up at the local market, along with those beautiful chives that we cut with, oh Lord, that we cut with the kitchen scissors. That's so good.